Hey everyone, welcome back. Ethan and Brendan here to discuss some pre-winter meeting stuff. Very exciting time in the baseball calendar, sort of the mecca of baseball activity in the off season. At least it used to be. Now it hasn't been as active in recent years, but obviously rumors are always flying around, but both before, during, and after, of course. And there's just a lot of sort of things that are going on. There's big free agent signings, there's trades because obviously all the executives from teams are there. There's the Rule 5 draft, which we'll probably talk about at a later date. So it's just an exciting time, and obviously hopefully, our teams make some moves.
I think before we kind of start diving in, there's baseball fans of every different level. There's people who are, baseball fans of 80 years and baseball fans of a few months. So Brandon, if you could you quickly just explain what these meetings are?
Yeah, so the winter meetings are an annual off-season activity, generally around like the first or second week of December. This year it's from December 9th to December 12th, I believe. And it's basically just like a 4 to 5 day romp of nothing but baseball rumors and activities. It's all the team executives from all the 30 baseball teams, all the top agents, all the top free agents will basically sort of come and meet, and combine at this one resort or wherever they're holding the winter meetings that year to discuss transactions, to discuss rosters, to discuss contracts, to discuss trades, to discuss prospects, to discuss everything in between. It's really just sort of a baseball mecca, as it were. And so generally the first day is pretty quiet just because teams are getting in, rumors are generally the main thing. The next couple days of the winter meetings are very active. Where trades and signings are happening, and then the last day of the meetings is often dominated by the Rule 5 draft and any last bits of tidbits as teams are leaving and getting set up to wrap up the calendar year and then move forward with the offseason come this year in 2025. So it's just an exciting time. Obviously, again, every team will be involved in some rumor or not, whether it's the fact that they're talking to free agents or not talking to free agents. So it's just a matter of, which team, it is that you're paying attention to.
So speaking of different teams, let's talk about the Cubs for a sec. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen in this meeting with the Cubs. Let's fire some off. What are your thoughts about what's going to happen in these meetings?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they made their first big move of the offseason. Well, they got Eli Morgan in a trade last week or a couple weeks ago, which was a solid under the radar move. They just made their first big move of the offseason, signing Matthew Boyd. So they're addressing roster needs with quiet, less sort of exciting headline, defining moves. Um,
As per usual with the Cubs, I mean, we play it slow and safe. We're not the Yankees, we're not the Dodgers. We don't have that kind of money.
yeah, we do. We just don't spend it. But
We're
regardless.
very frugal here. We're very frugal here in Chicago.
Yeah. I will say, I think the big prediction I'll make is that the Cubs aren't gonna make the big move. They're not gonna sign the Juan Soto. They're not gonna sign Corbin Burns. They'll make a move or two for sure. I mean, Jed Hoyer's always active, even if he's not making, the again like the blockbuster deals. But I think that, more than likely what you'll see is the Cubs, I don't think they'll make a Rule 5 draft pick, but the Cubs will probably sign a couple minor league free agents. Maybe they'll sign a backup catcher for Miguel Amaya. I wouldn't be surprised if they got, a reliever on a multi-year contract. Not that they're super privy to always doing that, but I definitely see a couple more moves to flesh out the roster. But until there is a trade that sort of frees up this glut of position players, whether Cody Bellinger is dealt, whether I don't think Ian Happ or Seiya Suzuki's getting traded, but maybe Nico Horner, something to just free up one of these positions that is just so filled right now with a starter and a top prospect. I don't see the Cubs doing anything too big.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. It kind of seems like there's too many cooks in the kitchen in some sense. Or you could kind of compare it to like there's too many cogs in the machine. Where if you look at the 2024 season, there was so many like switches around happening, and then you have the veteran players who don't want to go anywhere. They're
Mhm.
happy where they are. They don't want to either retire or they don't want to, go to a different team. I mean, Cody Bellinger's kind of made that very clear. So, it's kind of the old, adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A lot of fans would probably disagree with that, saying, it is broken. We're not even making it to the playoffs right now. But, Jed Hoyer probably disagrees with that. And they're saying, well, we don't want, things are on fire, but it's a controlled fire. So, we don't want to take risks. That's just what the Cubs, I guess you could call it the Cubs, like investors, you would call it, I guess. Like they don't want to take that risk right now. I wish they would, because I think in any business, especially something like sports, that's the fun in it. And listen, you have money to burn. You have money to burn. Burn the money. Give it a try. Like that's part of the fun. But I get it. We've had some rough years, and it's time to reshape a little bit.
Yeah, I'll leave it off with this. Again, there's always the chance, that something big comes to the forefront. I think the Cubs will be working the trade market more than the free agent market this year, but regardless, there's always the chance for something big to happen. But a lot of times, obviously, the Juan Soto signing, the Shohei Ohtani signing last year, whatever it is, those get the headlines. But a lot of these teams are built around the marginal plays. Again, the Cubs don't have that sort of franchise-defining superstar right now. Maybe Shodi Managa will improve even further and win Cy Young. Maybe Pete Crow Armstrong will win an MVP or something. But right now, they're obviously lacking that superstar, which is why we're all hankering for that sort of big signing. But again, making these smaller moves to just flesh out the team and insulate against injury and ensure that the team has depth at the top level of the minor league system. These are important moves that are being made. And even if it means that the Cubs aren't going to be, winning 100 games and competing with the Dodgers atop the NL next year, it does mean that, they're going to have a higher floor, which does matter. And even though it's not as exciting as a higher ceiling, the Cubs just need to start making the playoffs.